Okay, so today I'm going to teach you guys how to go from this clip to this. We're going to go from here to here. Now, there's a couple things going on. Number one, we are fixing the skin tones, which are super pink and magenta in this one and look unnatural. Then the jersey here is looking blue. So we're going to kind of take a little bit of the blue out of there. And we're not going to use any masks. We're not going to use any extensive rotoscoping or anything like that. We're just going to be using this HSL secondary tab within Lumetri Color to fix our problems. Now, first of all, what are causing these problems? Number one, in this shot, it appears that there is a mixed color temperature environment. So in other words, there's different lighting sources with different color temperatures. It looks like there's some fluorescence or maybe some incandescent lights within the shop here that are putting off a warm light, and then it looks like there's some windows coming in from this side and maybe from the front that are pushing some daylight onto the subjects. That if you're white balanced for fluorescent or tungsten, in this situation, the daylight that's spilling in is going to look blue. So the light over here is probably daylight reflected from a window, that's blue. The light reflecting off of here, that's probably from a window, is blue as well. A TV color temperature is also probably kind of cold anyways. So it's going to be a completely different white balance than whatever's in the room. But yeah, in this mixed white balance setting, things can go wrong. Your main priority in this situation is going to be the talent. So it's a little bit more difficult to white balance. You can't just rely on your presets. You really got to dial in there. But it is fixable in post, so that's what we're going to do today. First step is I'm going to delete all this stuff so we can redo it. So I'm going to go in and make just add in a Lumetri color here. And our first step is to fix this. I would fix the white balance, but really my priority is skin tones. Skin tones are more important than the white balance because it's more noticeable to the human eye. So we're gonna, we could just try to go in here. Before I go in on the HSL tab, I'll tell you why you want the HSL tab. We got this triangle here, and I'm making this triangle so I can look at the Lumetri scopes and see what the color value of this cluster of pixels is, so I know what kind of correction to make. So I can see from, this is the vector scope here, that if this very center of the cross here is white, the pixels are leaning towards magenta. So what we can do to counteract that is what's right across the color wheel, we got green. So we can go to our white balance correction tools here in Lumetri Color, and we can put the slider onto green, and we can push it, and you see if we push it, we kind of go in between to the center line here between magenta and green, and we're on this line. And this line is your skin tone line, and it's between red and yellow. So it's kind of in that orange area, but it's a little more of a reddish orange. And that's right where you want to be for your skin tones. So when we take this mask off, you can see what we've done is we've put green on the entire shot, which looks a little, just a little bit unnatural. Not terrible. Actually, you can see back here, before we do that, when we take that correction off, it is a little magenta back there. So a little bit of green is good. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a little triangle, a little opacity triangle here, so again we can see what we're doing. And we look at the pixels here, and we're going to go for a perfect white. We're going to add a little orange, and just to kind of center everything up into that circle. You can also look here at your parade, and when your RGB values are all equal for something that should be white, that's how you know you're white balanced. So we're getting, pretty close on this. Not perfect. We take that off. Pretty dang good. Honestly, I'm liking that. So we've added a touch of orange and a little bit of green. And this is going to get you a lot closer than using this white balance selector. White balance selector is going to throw you off. You try to grab some of this stuff that's even more blue than everything else, and you're going to be looking crazy. You're going to be looking super, super orange. So anything that's a neutral color that doesn't have any color values associated with it, or shouldn't, like even this black or this gray is going to have not very many color values. You can white balance off that. So let's go ahead. Let's try out our HSL secondary here. We're going to make some even more corrections to the skin tones. So I'm going to take this eyedropper here. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to click and drag. And I'm going to drag around to all these different skin tone values. Careful not to touch any of the hair or anything else that's not skin. And I'm going to click this color gray so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to try to add in more of those skin tone values. So, got his leg here. Got his hand. Got his forehead. It's not working very well. And once you've made that selection, you want to finesse it even more. You can go into this HSL stuff and you can finesse it even more. I think our saturation here is holding us back. I really don't want to deal with more than mostly the skin tones though. So I'm really just going for the skin tones. That's a decent selection. It's not great. If I scrub through here, sorry about that. If I scrub through here, you're going to see a little dancing blocks and noise. That can be fixed with this denoise tool and this blur tool, which I usually just drag all the way up. And that smooths out the selection. Now, why do we do this? It's so we can make an individual correction to just these color values. So I can go in and I can make this all orange, and it's just going to make that area orange. So we can make the skin tones match even more now. They still look a little magenta, so I'm going to continue to add some green. Now I'm going to add a little bit of orange to warm them up. And that's that. Before, after. Before, after. And that's just a subtle touch that people are going to appreciate. They'll look a little bit better. One more thing. I'll actually make another Lumetri color. And this time I'm going to fix the jersey. And we're going to use that HSL secondary. So we're going to click on the HSL secondary tab, click on the eyedropper, click on the plus dropper, click and drag around to all the color values you want to select. I want to just get the white of this jersey, or what should be white. It looks light blue. So that's a pretty damn good selection. I'm going to bring the noise up on this and just kind of blur it a little bit. Don't want to blur it too much in this situation because we're going to start grabbing things that are different colors, which for this situation we don't want. But I'll show you what we can do with this selection is we can just desaturate, right? And that is what we want because we want that to be white, right? So before, after, before, after. And it even makes this look a little bit more natural back here. And in fact, this looks crazy. So I'm going to grab all that. And we're just going to saturate all that. I don't want to take that stuff with me. You know, it's really tough because the blue on his collar here is also blue. So, this is where shooting in higher bit rates becomes handy. This is where getting it right in camera becomes even more handy, and in lighting, so you can control for these sorts of situations. I think if I drag this hue tool over, I can kind of push some of that stuff out. And I think maybe if I move this luminance up, yeah, and those low luminance values, I cut those out. But again, I'm still gonna have issues with the gradient here. You see as it fades, because that's gonna look blue. So it's not gonna be perfect, but it's still head and shoulders above of what it was. And if we just kind of go ahead and play through, it looks fairly natural. I might even warm their skin tones up even more, honestly. But I don't want to do it too much to where it looks unnatural. That doesn't look bad. From where we started, I'll show you that's before, and here's after. So we're getting close to what we want. You know, I might, for this, I might throw like a vignette on it, just to draw the viewer's eye in. Something like that. And if you look at the before, after, it just kind of draws the viewer's eye in a little tiny bit. One other thing, this footage was shot in 4K, but we're delivering for broadcast, so you're really not going to need anything higher than 1080p. Anything on cable broadcast, not cable broadcast, but cable or broadcast, is not going to be in any higher resolution than 1080p. So really, your best bet in this situation is to downscale it to 1080, scale it down to 50%, and that gains you a little bit of sharpness. And then, you know, say you needed to make a cut, you had multiple takes on this video, you know, you could have this guy say a line, then you could not necessarily cut, but you could punch in over here, you know, frame it up to like 90 or whatever, punch in, and then you got two cameras. Or, you know, you could take your position and your scale keyframes, and you could do a camera move. You could do like a little digital slider like this. I'll do it a little faster so you can see. Apologies for the slowdown. I need more RAM. So yeah, something like that. Or you could even do a slight zoom in. I do that a lot, where I'll slowly zoom in. And you can zoom in up to 100%. That's the best part about downscaling, is you can zoom in up to 100% without losing any pixels or losing quality of your image. So it's really great. Yeah, just one last tip that I would do that could help improve this. And that's pretty much it. So fixing your skin tones, adding in a little bit of green to cut out the magenta, and then we're doing another secondary correction to fix the jersey and desaturate those light blues. And then lastly, just a little vignette. So that's all I got for today. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you next time.